Hey my Planet Poke Pals, it's time to play Pokemon Conquest. Today is a kingdom takeover time, and this is the menu in which we switched out our warriors' Pokemon that they linked up with. So now that myself and Oichi have alternates from Eevee and Jiggles, I have no problems entering Pugilis. We're gonna bring them the pain. Bring the pain to Pugilis. That's all this warlord's going to be walking away with once he thinks of the memories of his once fond kingdom. Onwards, my psychic and flying army, to victory! Yeah, we'll take them on knowing that they want victory too. It won't make any matter. The kingdom of Pugilis. Dear Chenze, I've been waiting for you. Waiting? What are you... The so-called warlords of this area are pathetic weaklings. Invading their kingdoms would be no fun at all. Something does seem to be kicking off in the north, but that's still far, far away. And now, you're here. I think this could be the most fun I've had in years. So we must now face the strong arm of Yoshihiro. And something to note, immediately at the start of the battle, is Yoshihiro's army has a greater power level than ours. But I'll show you in this battle that pure strength will not always win you a kingdom like you think it can. It takes careful strategy, and especially in Yoshihiro's kingdom, there are some tactics to remember. The banners are at the ring's edge. You know what this means, don't you? It's a gamble, just like everything else in life. Now, what he is referring to as the gamble is, sure, you may claim a banner, momentarily that is, for your side. But the problem is, you leave yourself perfectly exposed to attacks from your opponent. If you're hit off towards any of the edges, you'll go flying off into the ravine. That's an issue for any Pokemon that isn't flying or hovering, so we're going to have our flying Pokemon go within the pit, and we're going to have them be our main strikers. They'll be the upsetters, as I like to refer to them as. Simply because once Yoshihiro's army lands on any of these banners, I plan on flying out of the ravine and boop, knocking them off with a super effective hit, at least in the case of Rufflet. Because if I am not mistaken, Starly still only has quick attack. Which is fine, because any attack will do. That's the really fun thing about this map, is that it's kind of like a boxing match in a way. And it takes a lot of strategy because it's not a boxing match, it's not a sumo wrestling match, which is probably more accurate to say, being that this is the Japanese culture. It's not a sumo wrestling match in the strong arm way of having to stay in the ring and resist your opponent's power as they shove you closer and closer to the edge of the circle. Instead, what you have to do is claim flags, lure your opponent into the flag, be far enough away so that once your opponent lands on that flag, you are still not in their range of attack, and then when the time is optimal, go in for the kill. That's why Rufflet and Starly are going to be the cavern caveats. Because the one caveat for Yoshihiro claiming a banner is that he's going to be having to be rammed into the pit. And once there, he's at our disposal for maximum damage. If you have a couple of Pokemon that you set up in there aimed to deal massive damage as soon as those fighting types get there, of course I missed, then you'll have a great advantage in being able to take them out quicker. In this case, I need Gurdurr off of this platform. This way, Pansage will take the place of Gurdurr. He'll attack my Starly, but it won't be super effective because they are both flying. And I can still Okay, so you can't hit from below the ring. You have to fly up here and then smack him with a super effective wing attack. Now's the time. And they go flinging back. Now notice I'm keeping my psychic fighters, the ones that would have also more super effective striking force against Yoshihiro's army. I'm keeping them back, which to some viewing this LP or walkthrough, whatever you want to call it, may see as a silly tactic, but here's my reasoning behind it. If Yoshihiro's army actually does happen to breach my defenses of the Pokemon that I already have in place... Oh no! Well, we can deal with that. If they manage to get that far, then I have my army in the background, which, without even having to get on the same platform as Yoshihiro's army, can wage devastating confusion attacks on. And since Broccoli Monkey here thinks that he's such a badass, knocking most of my team off into the ravine, we're going to hit him with a little bit of Psychic. What's nice about Chingling is that I do believe he has the ability to float, so much like I'm doing here with Rufflet and Starly, going in the ravine and out of the ravine, see, it's inconsequential that Starly was thrown out of the ring, even though it has very low health. Because from here on out, so long as we control the banner territories and make it so that the opponent AI has too many banners to choose from, they're going to go to the one that is open and already claimed by me. So Pansage is going to waltz over to the one where he'll do no damage to my team, which then gives me the opportunity to swoop in with Rufflet and massively hit it with a wing attack. It's all about predicting your enemy's movements, and something important to know in Pokemon Conquest is whenever it comes to a banner battle, they tend not to remove their team from where they are staying, so in essence they will be stagnant whenever they lurch onto one of the main points to grab. And this is another great thing about having a Psychic with you, especially at this point in the game, since most of them only have Confusion. Confusion is a couple space hitting move. I believe it's 2 spaces, and then the third is the striking space. And now I think you guys can predict what kind of setup we have going on here with Broccoli Monkey. Too bad Ralts can't wage an attack on it, but oh well. Now we have the the pit stop, if you will. I was going to say the pit pokes, but it is really the pit stop for Pansage, because in here he has to deal with us, the ones that he vine whipped down that can't fly back onto the ring. We're going to finish him off. It's funny, in an ironic sense, he was his own demise. If he just left Spiel and Joltik up on the map, I still might have just been guarding my banners, but no, he has to demise his own self.
But it wouldn't be any fun if all the odds were in my favor. Not knowing whether you're going to win or lose, that is true thrill of Battlefield.
Yes, Yoshihiro knows how to have a good time. He is a real battling warlord for sure. He knows that in life everything is a gamble. Yet, if you apply yourself, have good discipline, and use strategy and skill, you can pretty much complete anything in your goal range, like taking over this kingdom, for example. So we're going to use Yoshihiro's teachings to our own advantage. Do remember that staying on a banner that is your color will re-heal the Pokemon sitting on it. So Starly, who was very close to dying with one more hit of any type of move, not very effective or effective, doesn't matter, is now regaining health. And Rufflet has pretty free reign over the map, but we're going to first deal some damage to the incoming army. The biggest thing to remember about this battle is to have outposts of damage, not just to fight on this one square battlefield. This is really where you're doing the setup. This is where you're leading your opponent into your devious trap. This is where you really... Now I know you're thinking, why would I not claim that flag? But this is part of the setup. This is where you see how you're going to deal the most damage. The most damage is not always done by Yoshihiro's brute force methods. As we can see, all of his army is just now filing back onto the stage. And you'll see that I wanted to keep that red banner open because, well, his 2 Timbers, they're already used up in movement space, and now his girder didn't even make it all the way to that banner, but had we put Starly there, I don't know really how much damage this thing can deal. It is Yashihiro's main linked Pokemon, so I'm guessing it can really pack a wallop if it wants. So to Starly it might have been destroyed in that one turn, but by placing it on a banner I already claimed, it got an HP boost, and still Conquest, I knew I was going to accidentally say that, but Girder is off the stage. And now it's time for you to go, Machop. For good. Yep, taking you down. Not so hard when you apply some strategies to it. It's funny, the first time I came to this area, the first time I'm talking, back when I was playing this in the Japanese version, and it was Nobunaga's Ambition. Let's give our teammates a boost, why not? I thought that we could somehow still win with Eevee and Jigglypuff on our side. It really wouldn't have worked out even if we did very careful placement of our Pokemon. Too easily can they be defeated by one of Yashihiro's main army members. Even with a critical hit, thanks to sitting on the banners for some time, Starly was able to... No! Hold on, just to be kicked again. Oh, there's no need to apologize, Bokuden. You did your role well. There's no hope for Yashihiro's army. See, once you get the strategic ball rolling and you have your Pokemon in place that are going to deal out the damage accordingly, there's really no stopping you. Because then you get them into a constant loop of always having to come back onto the stage, always having to fight the current of massive attacks from your Psychic and Flying types that you collected in the previous times of training around the areas of Pugilis. Now that we have so much supremacy claimed on this banner territory, we can sit behind Girder and deal a devastating attack of Wing Attack. That was a little redundant there, but you understand what I'm saying. The cool thing with being behind your opponent when they are in the pit is that rarely will they stop to take a turn to pay attention to you and retaliate back with their own moves. Look, Girder is fleeing the scene as fast as he can. For some reason, Yashihiro believes that that slow-moving lug of a muscular mass could get to the banners in time before Rufflet destroyed it. But you know where this is going, friends. That's not going to happen. I'm going to make well sure that the next attack will be the final. Or close to final. If you take a look in the turns left, we've managed to break it down to 22. So that's really a quick time to be sweeping Yashihiro's army as we are. Unfortunately, when they're on this side of the field, you can't smack them back into the pit, but I do believe that is for fairness, because if every time you had a flying type that could whack your opponent back in there, they wouldn't be much of a challenge. They wouldn't be getting anywhere, in fact. Oh, okay, so you had an HP boost up your sleeve. Well, that still won't help you. As much as you think it might, you're still doomed. So we'll focus on you, why don't we? You're closer to death anyway, and we are behind you. Whereas that Girder is getting a little too close for comfort, but it's quite alright, guys, because so long as he falls into our trap, which he is sashaying into very sweetly, we will be able to win. Leave a banner open for them as bait, let them get on it, and then attack. It's a very simple strategy, but it can be enhanced and increased in productivity and efficiency if you set up warriors on the flip side of the pit. Putting your Pokemon that have no control over getting out of the pit quick or not, and that would be the non-flying, non-levitating types, so Carnivine would be a good Pokemon to have go back and forth, have as an in-between. And let's see what this does, because I never tested this before, and I'm not sure. Oh, okay, so the fight bell, once that's rung by an attack, it will increase the attack power of whose ever color it was rung. So even though I am of the blue team, if I ring the red bell, they get a power boost. So don't do that. Only do that for your side. And I should have thought of that earlier. If I would have known, then the couple of turns that I had Ralts and Chingling sitting still, I would have just sat them by the bell and raised my teammates' power. But, c'est la vie, live and learn, that's how this goes. I don't claim to know everything. I'm learning with you guys rather than learning at you, trying to learn you something. We're learning something together, so there. I teach you the strategies that I know will work, and I tend to learn things in the process. So, now that I know what this does, let's just taunt our foes a little bit more. It doesn't matter how much their attack power raises, even if they did manage to fire off one last desperate attack, we still would come back and smite them with a strong psychic or wisp them away with wing attack. Either way, there's no hope for Yashahiro. So it's present collecting time! And I compliment the developers here for designing a ring that is very balanced in that the super effective Pokemon in this area for taking on Yashahiro, one of them being flying type, but the other that you can recruit in your training time are psychic types. And at this stage of the game, like I said earlier in this episode, the only attack really you're going to be seeing by psychic types in this point is Confusion, which requires 3 spaces.
They're good. We must retreat.
Good, now they've all fled the battlefield like a bunch of sissies, and we can claim their banners like it's nothing. Like we were just bystanders of their own demise, not like we committed it. We have claimed all the banners. We win! So, the fact that the ring is designed to have 3 spaces so that Confusion can hit if you are on the opposing side of the ring, directly parallel to them, you can still hit them. If the developers were really annoying and they made it a tighter ring, or they made it so that the ring was even larger so that it wasn't working out very equally, so you could hit your opponent simply by using Confusion from one banner to the other, then it would be a lot harder to beat Yashahiro. So again, congratulations and clapping of the hands for the developers. Very good.
Here, you're a worthy winner. But this is all part of the rich tapestry of battle. Victory tastes all the sweeter once you have known the bitterness of defeat. Anyway, congratulations! You won a battle that will be talked about for years to come.
Yes, indeed it will, because we now have claimed all the new kingdoms that have shown up in our area ever since smiting Motochika back a couple episodes ago. Man, that really didn't seem too far back. We are just running this place! And on top of that, because we did such a swell job at sweeping his warriors, a good bunch of them want to join our team. Which is great, because if I am ever to do a 100% walkthrough of this game, still on the fence with that, because I really don't know how hard it is to coax the other warriors to come out and join my team. But for the most part, if that's going to happen, I will need them to join me, so the sooner the better. And on top of that all, as if gaining warriors and Pugilis Castle weren't enough, Starly evolves and finally gets wing attack. Could have been useful in the very last battle there, Staravia, but hey, I can't complain. At least we are one step closer to your final form, Staraptor. Congratulations, Lord Diogen Z! You now have 7 kingdoms under your control. Are you always this pleased with yourselves? Ah! Surely you are aware of the crisis facing Ransei as we speak. Meanwhile, Nobunaga, who had been gathering his forces in the north of Ransei, had conquered 8 kingdoms himself. Just 2 kingdoms remained. Terra under Shingen's command, and Elusio, Kenshin's kingdom. Both were renowned throughout Ronsei as warlords of great strength. Indeed, even Nobunaga himself was said to fear them. Wow, something that can make Nobunaga quake in his boots. I guess we're gonna have to go knock on their kingdom doors and say, hey, how about you join our army? Yeah, that would be bad if Nobunaga got the balls to actually recruit them before we did. He's already got one more kingdom than we do as it is. He's got 8. We need to even the playing field and have at least one of these guys join our side. And trust me, the following kingdoms that we will be facing are tough. They have fully evolved Pokemon. Up until this point, we've only seen semi-evolved or base forms. So in the next episode, we train!